But again,
No,
this is grief.
yeah,
These are good tears. These are cry the tears we need to cry so we can move forward.
yeah.
So talk to me about 8 to 10, which actually sounds like a sentence. But so talk to me about 8 to 10 and why we didn't get married.
I'm gonna be 100 because
I hope so, because
because
100 helps.
it helps. It helps, and the Lord just moved before um, us. Um, I I cheated.
Okay.
All right, and and
In what phase of that 8 to 10? At what point did you cheat?
in the beginning,
Okay.
yep.
In the middle
Okay.
Damn,
and
girl.
towards the end,
Towards
So
the
this
end.
has been
An
as
issue.
you've experienced it.
an issue.
Okay. As you've experienced, what has it been?
Oh, it's been an issue.
Okay.
You know, because
Because you were setting up to say it was episodic,
oh,
meaning episodes. I'm hearing theme here. I'm hearing episode here.
um, you know, I did something. I did two very egregious things. One was before Kim and I got together, I was with someone who wasn't saved. In the first couple of about the first 6 weeks or so, I witnessed to her. You know, because I realized we couldn't move further if we didn't share the same faith. And she just the person said, "No, I'm good. You know, do you,
Thank
but
you.
you know, whatever."
Okay, thank you.
And so I compromised.
Okay.
You know, everything that I built myself up to be, you know, I cashed it in, and I got nothing from it, but just an erosion and a deterioration of my integrity and relationship, and it was all bad.
Okay.
And that's just a warning to anyone who watches this. The thing about being unequally yoked is where they are, you're familiar with that world,
Right.
with that life. But where you are as a believer, the unbeliever is not familiar.
Okay.
So there's just the propensity to be pulled down than pulling them
I'll
up.
state it a different way.
Uh-huh.
If you're with somebody who doesn't share your commitments, you can't form a commitment to each other.
Mm.
That's just the,
Yeah.
clear way to look
Clear,
at it is,
yeah.
if they're not committed to your commitments, then they're going to struggle committing to you.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And so, but everything else, I mean, like I was in my purpose, you know, working with young people in gangs and Watson Compton and stuff. So I felt everything else was good.
Right.
But I knew internally I was not doing
So
well.
going in, you knew you were compromising.
Oh yeah, from the jump, and it was a prolonged. I mean, I tried to make that work for about 4.5 years.
Okay.
Short story is, again, being at work, she was one of our business partners, and she was just a breath of fresh air. You know, we had a couple of conversations, and I was just pulled to her. I was attracted to her.
So did you end, once you formed this attraction, did you end the other?
No, I got busted.
Okay.
On
So
that.
you tried to do both.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My
What was your hope? I mean, because there's a plan in there somewhere while this is going down.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, to be 100, because I was like, well, you know, I'm with this person, and I know it's dead to me,
Okay.
but I wasn't. I guess I wasn't man enough to break it off.
Okay. So you got with her with your heart not available to her.
To Kim,
Kim.
yeah. Well, let me before I sign on to that. Well, because my heart wasn't in the previous relationship anymore. You know, it was
but,
just.
But you were present
I
for
was-
that relationship.
Yeah, physically I was present, and I felt
Okay.
obligated because she had a little boy, and his dad wasn't in the picture, and so I felt bad about that because that was my experience.
You just smiled because something hit you while he was saying that. What hit you?
Oh, yes. So, my thing with Kelly, and we're working through it, is his need to help women. And
You know what I call that? Thinking you're part of special forces. And what I mean by that is there's a tendency for men who like to, quote, save.
Wait, I ain't a captain saver.
No, that's not a term I use. I prefer special forces.
right.
And here's what they wind up doing. Jumping out of the back of planes at midnight into cold water, swimming 5 miles, hiking 10, only to get to a woman who's bonded with the natives and doesn't want to be rescued. I've never seen the rescuing work, because part of the reason why they're captive is because they've really got the Stockholm syndrome and they've bonded with the natives. So rescuing women doesn't work. So why would a guy do it? Because it's not about the victim.
It's about them.
It's about the affirmation of the hero's journey and how I want to be seen, which tracks back to some of the struggle now, because I married you wanting to have you see me a certain way, and now I can't produce that. Well, now, if I can't jump out of the back of planes, and you said it in your theme, part of my goal when we got married was to give you the life you didn't have and to make up for that. Again, heroic. That, the sex is just part of the cost of doing business, and it's kind of honestly, it's an outward manifestation of just the cost of what I need. It's not what we're really going after, it's what I need, and what I need is the affirmation. Well, to get the affirmation, we're gonna have to get physical. That's just the byproduct of being that close. So it isn't the sex that you have to address, other than whatever kind of sex and the exposure and what I start to like because of that. That's the physical. But the emotional tie to it is in service and affirmation of my ego. So when I say your heart wasn't available, here's the part of it that says your heart wasn't available. You couldn't be honest with where things were. So your heart can't be available if you can't be transparent. If in my mind I'm strategizing, as you termed it, not getting busted, that had to be a part of the strategy. Is, well, I won't lose her.
Until I made a decision. I mean, it was selfish. I mean, I didn't want to get busted till I made a decision.
So in the decision of getting, quote, busted, because when I hear busted, she found out. Are you telling me that you came to her and said, look, here's...
No. They both called me at work on Valentine's Day.
Oh, so you didn't make a decision.
No, it was made upon me. God said,
Okay.
enough is
All
enough.
right.
Yes.
Now, see, clarity is everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what happened.
Yeah. So I was at where I work, present day. I was on probation, so the pressure was really on me
He just started.
to perform.
Okay.
Yeah.
And along with that, my mom, she passed away from diabetes. So this was in 2008. She had just, like the previous week, her eyes started bleeding and things started getting really bad. So I had all this going on. I was in this, in my opinion, dead-end relationship. I just met Kim, and we were starting to really feel each other. And Valentine's Day, which was my ex-girlfriend's birthday, by the way, finds out, my indiscretions, calls me. You can imagine
How'd she
that
find out? How did the two of you find out?
She called me.
Okay.
Yeah, she went.
She
Did
called
you know
me.
about her?
No,
Okay.
I did not.
I'm going to come back to you. What was the impact of that phone call?
It was Valentine's Day. I just met him. I really liked him. And I got this call in the morning getting ready for work. And it just blew me away.
Okay.
because we were talking about the Lord a lot. We even had some Bible studies. We would read scriptures together, and I was amazed.
So here's this godly man I'm becoming very interested and enamored with. We're still in the curiosity phase of this. Bam. So how did you recover from that?
So, I mean, it was still early on, you know. Of course, I was very upset, and of course, I was speaking with her, and then at some point, he and I spoke, and I mean, it was devastating, just period. But there's others since then, but so I'm just talking about it. But
we're working our way
right.
through.
But for that time, you know, we put it on pause a little bit so he can kind of fix it and stay friends. And then we came.
So you pulled back with the notion of what?
That he was going to, because he didn't want to be in the relationship anymore, and I did like him, and I kind of understood. I kind of thought I understood that. Okay, he just needs to clean this up, and then we'll come back
So you didn't see it as a
together.
character issue.
I did. Yeah, I did.
So he has some stuff to work on. You perceived it to be a character issue, but you really wanted to be with him.
I did. I really fell for him, and there was a couple of red flags because he had to leave sometimes early or unexpectedly, you know. But I had a couple girlfriends because he would always, in retrospect, I know what it is now, but he would always hide behind the scripture.
Okay.
So whenever he was maybe in retrospect not in line, he would preach the word,
Okay.
you know, and so,
Overcompensating.
yes. But yeah, so I let him close that chapter, but remained his friend, and then he ended it
Okay.
because he had to.
Okay.
And,
No.
well,
No, I chose you. I mean, under the
well,
worst.
she didn't want him anymore either. No, just kidding.
Right.
I mean, because I needed to take a
Well,
break
let me
too.
flip that.
Okay.
You say you chose her. Here's my question. Did you feel chosen?
I feel even to this day that Kelly loved me, but you know, character flaw, and I have character flaws too, so I didn't go in on him as hard.
Guess what you just did, just now? You again chose not to let him exist in isolation in accountability. Because and again, we can move to your issues if that's what you want to, but we're focused in on how he failed to give you and affirm your value. And you just let him off the hook in that statement of, I have my faults too. Faults aren't the same as failings. Because when we go outside the relationship, and again, I don't do blame, I do accountability. And to me, a relationship is a conspiracy, it's not a crime.
Right.
So what I'm pointing out is one of the ways you've been a co-conspirator with him
Okay.
is to not let him feel the full weight of not choosing you. And that's how you've supported the not choosing you, is in that instance, which sets the trajectory. That's our Genesis story. Genesis, and how you live out your Genesis story, for every couple, for every relationship, it will determine what happens when you get into the desert, because it sets the trajectory of it. How we
Makes
are
sense.
in the beginning, we're laying the foundation for when we get into struggle, which is what we're in
Right.
now. So then the trust factor of that, well, the growing that we talked about, that growing needed to take place for real, and him feeling the weight of a real potential loss of a real value in his life. And it sounds like every time he did it, you moved the standard down to accommodate his behavior.
May I interject?
Yeah.
Because what I hear what you're saying, but let me just add another situation that happened that maybe will give you a fuller picture. So I got busted. I had an option because my ex at the time was like, well, do you want to work it out, or are you going to go move on? And pretty much I said I want to move on. And then everything that I've been holding on for the previous 4 years we were together, I just let it be known. And that was that. I closed that chapter. She was out of my life. Boom. Starting this rocky one. And it was rocky. And
But do you see why it should have been
oh
rocky?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I own. She knows I owned up to that.
Okay.
But I liked her enough, loved her as a person to go through that.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it was very challenging, our relationship. But to this day, Kim is such an incredible person that it was worth getting to what the potential could be, our
Okay.
relationship. So, but we would always fight, be cool, fight. And I just wore down from the fighting. And again, I own up to it. So about 4 years in, I cheat again.
Okay.
And I get busted. And that was
This one was I didn't compensate.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to
Talk to me.
I
Yeah, we're
Well, I-
working our
yeah.
way through.
Yeah.
We're working our way through.
I broke up, and and I was really hurt, and I was very ugly also with it. I was blindsided.
So what did you reconcile in yourself during that 3-year breakup that became a strength to bring to the rejoining?
I had to really look within myself too, and separate and move away. I moved away.
Okay.
And I cut all communications out. I at that time I was done, and I wanted to have a relationship with God because I
Okay.
felt really broken,
Okay.
and I looked at just beyond Him too, as far as my past with other people,
Right.
So I was just really broken. I really just wanted to, I don't know how to say it, but find myself, heal myself, love myself, learn to love myself.
Okay. So his
yeah.
treatment of you had affirmed some stuff from the past
Yes,
that was inconsistent with where you really wanted to go.
right.
Okay. So you get to this place, mom dies.
Oh.
Where do we go from there?
well, my mom.
His mom passed away,
Okay.
and he had a funeral
Right.
scheduled, and I also, gosh, there's so much things. During the breakup or shortly then thereafter, I got mugged, and I had a brain injury. I still do. There are permanent issues with my scalp, my brain. But so I was just really going through it. So I don't remember how I heard about the funeral, but I heard about it.
Okay.
So I contemplated if I was going to go or not because I didn't want to see him. I just
Okay.
wasn't prepared.
Right.
But I wanted to pay my respects to his mom because I knew her.
Okay.
So somehow I got there.
Okay.
And we did talk, because of course at the end of the day, he's still a human. I still had a love for him. And he lost his mom. And
Okay.
so I wanted to just pay my respects. But then after that, during and then after that, we started to talk, but with no,
Trajectory.
yeah,
or
nothing
agenda? Okay.
as far as we're going to reconcile.
Okay.
None of that. Well, on my part. Okay.
I'll ask
Yeah.
him later. But yeah. Okay.
Because I was really fragile. I was mugged. I had severe food poisoning. I moved. It was
So
I-
there was
so many
there was
things.
a vulnerability there. Okay.
I was
So
not well.
when did the notion of getting back together, when did that kick in?
I want to say after a few more discussions and meetings, you know, as far as like, hey, you want to have breakfast, or hey, you want to have a walk, or, you know, I can't remember fully because again, that was that period.
Well,
You
to
have,
gi-
yeah, it was very cloudy.
Just to give you a time frame to help, my mom passed away June 26, 2013, and about maybe September, October, you know,
We're now looking
Where-
at the potential of
right.
getting back together.
Right. So
Here's my fundamental question that I ask every couple. What did the two of you identify that you changed? Not that changed, because there's a difference. What did you identify that you changed? And this is an important question. That would say it would be better.
that I changed, that he changed.
Yeah, specifically, in other words, we agree that character impeded us from going where we wanted to go in round one, okay? A lot of times what happens is couples will come around back together off of something changed. When the problem was never if anything would change, the problem was who changed.
I got your
Who
answer. I'm
changed
gonna let her
is
go
an
though.
intentional thing.
Yeah.
It's not a, I miss you, or, you know, it's, because at that point, when you get back together with somebody, you're not giving them a chance, you're giving them an opportunity. There's a difference. Chance implies, let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Opportunity says,
Make the
now you
most.
have a chance to intentionally do something different
And make the most of it.
and make the most of it.
Yeah.
So what was it that the two of you identified, separately and jointly, had changed, or that you changed?
For me, I feel that I grew
Okay,
spiritually. I felt that I felt that I had a little bit more clarity, more knowledge.
had you grown to be able to trust him with your heart?
And I felt that after, through the conversations we were having after his mom passed away, and and how those conversations were shaped and how it flowed, I felt that he felt very remorseful, and I felt that he changed.
Okay, now I'm gonna draw a distinction between remorseful.
Okay.
Because that is what I mean when I say, what did you intentionally change? Remorse is not something I change, it's something I feel. There's a
Repent-
problem with feelings.
Repentance.
They come and go. What he was then was him without you. That was never the problem. The problem was him with you. That's why I always ask couples, what is it specifically that somebody changed and went after, and how they grew? And that's an intentional act. That's never, we don't grow accidentally. That's just not how that works.
We grow through pain, right?
No, no one grows through pain. They adapt through pain.
Okay.
That's
You have to choose to grow through pain.
Okay.
Intent.
And there's an intent behind it. And if that intent is not there, you will not grieve and put yourself in a position. And I guess since we're here, I'll define grieving. Grieving is what takes place when your file system, somebody came in, turned all your files upside down, and you have to sit through each file and refile it. That's, so where are we now? There's where I had that file and I could go to it and it was there. This has happened. Life will never be the same again. Grieving is, where do these files now go? Because I knew where they used to go. Now I need a new file.
I finally stopped running now. With you I found my peace somehow. Let go of every thought that was holding me back. Yeah, I'm in love with you in every way. The joy you give me every day.